Hey, it's another episode of Ask Boston Sax. I'm your host, Jack Tyler, and this is the show where we discuss everything saxophone and also why you will sound exactly like Chris Potter if you buy the same mouthpiece he plays. What is something that you wish will define you in the future of your business? Wow, I don't know how to answer this question without sounding like an egotistical hat, but I'm going to do my best. I guess as far as heroes of mine in the world of business, of which I have absolutely no training in, I have a master's degree in saxophone, that's it. You know, I think about people like Hans Wilsdorf, I think about Carroll Shelby, I think about people that were disruptors, and I certainly don't hold myself to the same level as those fine folks. But I think that Boston Sax Shop has and will continue to shake things up, and that's really all that I can ask for. Everyone talks about vintage Selmers. What are some of the most slept on vintage saxophones? Yes, there's quite a few. You know, Selmer really took the cake when they made the change from straight inline keywork to radial keywork. The Super Balanced Action, which is actually released as the Super Action, fun side note, most people call it the Super Balanced Action, that was never the title that Selmer gave it, was the first saxophone ever, to my knowledge, to offset the keywork instead of straight down the body tube to being, you know, slightly adjacent to each other, which is significantly more comfortable to play. Now, as a result, I think that's the reason why we have based basically every modern saxophone on the Selmer design, whereas a lot of the other vintage saxophones never made that switch. They kept the tone hole straight down the body tube, and comparatively, they are less comfortable to play. But there are some really great ones out there that, in my opinion, offer a significantly wider range of tone and just more interesting sound than a Mark VI. So that being said, a couple really fun ones. First and foremost, which come to mind would be, of course, the Con 10M, which is the horn that Dexter Gordon played. Really amazing instruments that give you a lot more breadth and width than most Selmer saxophones. The Bisher Big B, or Bisher 400s, these are horns that actually Sonny Rollins played for a stint, which kind of the same thing. They fall into that vintage American category of having a bigger bore and therefore, you know, just a higher ceiling volume and flexibility. One other that I will mention would be the King Super 20, which I think is the most beautiful saxophone ever designed, especially the silver sonics that had the pearl side keys. They have a sterling silver bell and neck, and the legend goes that these particular horns, the company lost money on every single one. If you look at these horns and compare them to a Mark VI, it makes it look like a Honda Civic versus a Maserati. No offense to those of you who have a Honda Civic. They're just incredibly beautiful horns, and they sound just as good as they look, and of course were played by people like Johnny Griffin or Cannonball Adderley. What is the difference between the Black Label, Silver Label, and Nexus reed cuts? So the Black Label reeds from Boston Sax Shop, this is the original cut that I designed going on 7 years ago, which was based on my desire to find a reed that had the sonic qualities and evenness and cooperative resistance of a classical reed, but had the projection of a quote-unquote jazz reed. So that is the darkest cut that we offer. It has a thicker tip profile than most other reeds out there, which give them, in my opinion, extended longevity, and again, evenness across the registers. The Silver Label is our newest cut, which builds on the success of the Black Label and utilizes that very specific thicker tip profile. By removing some heart material, it's brighter and more flexible. So if you're looking for a more modern sound, but with that classic Boston Sax Shop quality, that's the one for you. Now, the Nexus reeds are designed in collaboration with saxophonist Chad Lefkowitz-Brown, and this is a completely different spectrum, a much brighter reed with a thinner tip profile, which gives a quicker response and just an overall more brilliant sound, but thicker heart profile to balance it out. So in order of darkness to brightness on my imaginary reed scale here, we have Black Label, Silver Label right in the middle, and the Nexus on the brighter side of the spectrum. Who is your least favorite saxophone player on YouTube? Well, I guess like any good self-deprecating jazz musician, I'm going to say myself. What inspired you to start your business? So the Boston Sax Shop actually started as just solely me doing repairs in the back of a music store. And since then, I think that growing the brand has been a very natural evolution of designing the products that I wanted for myself. I never saw things going the way that they have, and I'm very grateful for the success and the artists that have come on board to support the products that I've made. But at the heart of everything, it's always been about, you know, the things that I always wanted that this industry, quite honestly, wasn't providing. And it's just gone from there.